all I have to say is thank you, God, because I always say, no, I'm sorry.
It's good. Take your time.
As an immigrant, as a young mom, like I shouldn't be here, but yet I am. And a lot of people started the same time as me or even before, and they're not where I am. So I was like, God, you're being just so amazing to not just me, but my family. Peruvian. I was born and raised in Peru. I came to the US at the age of 10. It's been challenging because English is not my first language. But starting my own business was because I became a mom at the age of 17. She came as a surprise, and we decided to get married at 18. We wanted to raise her as a family. My husband, he had a job. I was an illegal immigrant, so I couldn't get a regular job. I still had to work. I was getting paid less than minimum wage, and even after my pregnancy, like I didn't have no maternity leave or any of that, you know? So I just had to go back to work. Entrepreneurship was not in my plans at all. I just wanted to survive. But I wanted to be a present mom. So I talked to my husband and I told him, I have this crazy idea. I think I'm gonna start a business. And I remember he was like, you're crazy. I would see 10, 15 clients a day, Monday through Saturday, because Sundays we would go to church. And I don't know, I just kept going. I just kept going. It only took 3 months. My first year was very successful.
Hey, before we jump into the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Hey, you liking, subscribing, and also sharing our videos helps us to produce more content like this. So thank you for your love and support in advance. Hey, now let's jump into the conversation. Let's go.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Ground Up. I'm your host, Nay, with my brother, Kazi. We are two siblings in the entrepreneurship space, and we talk on topics like faith, family, and entrepreneurship. And we have a special guest for you guys today, someone who embodies all three of those things, Miss Fiorella, or AKA Fio of FBB Products. Welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me here, guys. I'm so excited.
So walk us a little bit through about like, how did you start your entrepreneurship space? Where are you from? I guess your genesis story of where you came from.
Okay. Peruvian. I was born and raised in Peru. I came to the US at the age of 10, and my parents brought me to this country, and it's been challenging because English is not my first language. So it's been very challenging. But starting my own business was because I became a mom at the age of 17. So I needed to make extra income, but also be a present parent. With my husband having a full-time job, I needed to be there as a mom, but I also wanted to make something extra so that way we can raise a family together.
So you guys high school sweethearts or?
Middle school sweethearts.
High school. Oh, wow.
Okay.
I know. It's 8th grade. Yes. But I gave him the yes when it was freshman year. So high school. Yes.
So you mentioned at 17, you got pregnant with your baby, your first baby.
Yes, our first baby girl.
So did you know at that age that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Or was that?
No. She came as a surprise, and we decided to get married at 18. As soon as we turned 18, we wanted to raise her as a family together. So my husband, he had a job. I was an illegal immigrant, so I couldn't get a regular job. I was working since the age of 15, but because I didn't have my legal documents, paperwork, I was working under the table at a like fast food restaurant, and the laws didn't really apply for me. So even though I was pregnant, I mean, still had to work. I was getting paid less than minimum wage, and even after my pregnancy, like I didn't have no maternity leave or any of that, you know? So I just had to go back to work, just, you know. We had always had huge help from my parents. They were amazing. So my mom would watch my baby while I would go to work. But entrepreneurship was not in my plans at all. I just wanted to survive.
So when did you have that moment of like, you know what, I'm tired of this 9 to 5. I want to step into something that I really want to do, which is entrepreneurship. When did that happen for you?
So we're from SoCal. We moved to North Cal, and we came to Stockton about 6 years ago. And we decided, my husband had a union job and he was making great money. So I was able to, we got pregnant. Again, he wanted to have a boy. We have 2 girls. So then he decided to have a boy.
Got to.
Yes, he was like, let's try for the boy. So we did, had a boy, but I wanted to be a present mom. I wanted to be there for my child because my other two, I wasn't really there. My mom kind of like helped me raise them. So I talked to my husband and I told him, I have this crazy idea. I need a job that's going to be part-time, but that's going to give me enough to also be at home. So looking for jobs, that was just not going to happen. They don't pay as much. So I told my husband, I think I'm going to start a business. And I remember he was like, you're crazy. Yeah. So I went ahead and I asked him if just to, because he was working full time. I was like, I need you to believe in me. I want you to believe in me. Like, I think I can make this happen. And I chose to do lash extensions. I've always loved to get my lash extensions done. So I said, it's something that I like. So I think it's something that I can sell. If I like something, it's easier for me to sell. So I decided to do lash extensions. And we just from my garage. That's how I started in Stockton, which it was very challenging because we're not from Stockton. So my
Didn't know
husband,
nobody.
exactly,
Starting from
yeah,
ground zero.
we moved to Stockton, and I'm like, okay, now I want to start my own business. So my husband was like, we don't know anybody. We don't have any friends, any family here. Like, what are you talking about? You know? But I'm just so grateful that God gave me such an amazing man because he's my backbone. He's always has. So he was like, okay, I don't know how you're gonna do it, but I guess just do it, and I'm here. You know. So that's how we started.
It's funny because similar to your story, my wife, same thing. She had all these crazy ideas, right? And I was like, all right, I mean, if you really want to do it and you're going to commit to it, hey, you got me, and you can always fall back if it doesn't. So I mean, I feel like as a man, it's kind of like we want the best for our spouses. We want you guys to be happy, and luckily you have a husband was working in the union, so you guys were able to finance that,
Yes.
And it takes I feel like it, at least for me personally, it took a lot for me to like, all right, if you want to do it, how much is it? And like the startup cost is what? And I was like, okay, if you really want to do it, let's run it, And my wife, she had the luxury of also like having me as knowing the business side of things. Did your husband know anything about business on that, like how to market, how to do any social media?
No,
or was that all self-taught?
We didn't know anything. We just I started everything. So I was just on Instagram. Instagram was huge at that time, and it was pandemic. It was 2020 when I started. So but the pandemic started in March. I started in January. So it actually worked out.
Well, so you said it started in March, your entrepreneurship. Oh no, the pandemic, and you started in January.
Yes, 2 months before.
Then that must have been scary,
Yeah. It was, but to my advantage, everything was closed.
Oh, yes.
And I started from home.
There you go.
In my garage.
Makes sense.
Did the pandemic in any way like affect business for you, or in a sense did it kind of help your business because everything else was closed?
It helped me because everything was closed. So I was saying, I'm doing lashes. I'm just starting, but come. And everybody was coming. Everybody. I had full books. I would work from 8 a.m. all the way to 10 p.m.
You guys weren't worried about the whole COVID thing, being in the house type?
I believe in God. And I was like, God, you keep me safe.
Okay, respect.
Say that again.
I just have to say that. Yes. I mean, of course, I know it was huge for a lot of people and it was huge for all of us. But I was like, God, I'm not doing anything bad, anything wrong. I just want to make sure that our bills are paid. So keep me safe. I just had a baby. So I was like, keep my baby safe. Keep, keep us safe, God. But I need this to work. I need this to work. Like there was no plan B. So I needed my business to work.
I think that's funny that you started in the pandemic year, because I also started lashing. I do lashes too, so I started in the pandemic, and a lot of times, we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and they will say that the pandemic affected their business, that they lost out on money. But we always say, yeah, we have crazy faith and we do believe in God. But as an entrepreneur, I feel like if you don't have faith in God, that kind of,
Yes.
I don't know. Like, I feel like if your foundation is in God and God put that idea in your
Mm-hmm.
mind, you have to have that crazy faith that, okay, I know that the economy looks like this, but I also know this is my calling, that you stepped forward and you stepped in faith. So what did the first year look like? Like, did you feel like after your first year, things just was consistently growing, or did you have any like hardships when it came to like scaling your business?
So before I took any client, especially for the first year, but I would pray. I would pray. I would go on my knees and pray, and I would just say, "God, help me," because I was new to the industry, so I wasn't doing like the best work, But I was like, God, and even to this day, I mean, when we opened our um, location, um, I had to I had to speak in front of everyone, and I was just like, all I have to say is thank you, God, because I wasn't. I mean, I always say, no, I'm sorry.
Take your time.
Mm-hmm.
As an immigrant, as a young mom, like I shouldn't be here, but yet I am.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people started the same time as me, or even before, and they're not where I am. So I was like, God, you're being just so amazing to not just me but my family. So that's huge. I mean, and that's the reason why I always say praying. I'm like, kiddos, come here, everybody, come on, let's go. We're gonna hold hands. We have a lot of videos like that because honestly,
awesome.
that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
we always do that. I'm like, even before I came in, I was like, God, please help me. Only because English is not my first language. I just want to become, and I'm like, God, I just want to be a blessing to other people to hopefully, motivate them. So I just want to make sure that I'm saying the right words.
Yeah.
But it definitely was a very challenging year because I was new to Stockton. I was new. It was a pandemic, but honestly, for me, I was fully booked. I mean, I worked all day. Sometimes I wouldn't even take a break, which was crazy. My parents, my husband was like, what are you doing? But I would see 10, 15 clients a day.
Wow.
And Monday through Saturday, because Sundays we would go to church. And I don't know. I just kept going. I just kept going. And I just kept going. And I was like, God right now is blessing us. So I'm just going to take advantage. And I'm just going to keep going because for your business to work, you have to be consistent. You have to show up.
Most definitely.
I'm like, I'm praying, and if God's bringing all these clients, I can't just be like, all right, well, I'll see you tomorrow. No, I'm here. So I was taking clients all day, and I'm a very grateful person. I'm like, I don't deserve this, that. I'm like, so I'm grateful. I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. So I was just like, clients are coming. I'm gonna go ahead and show up for them because I know God sent them my way.
It reminds me of the scripture talks about be faithful in the little, God will bless you with the much. And I think the fact that one, you were consistent, but two, you were able to steward all of that. Because I feel like people don't really know what they're talking about, or they don't know what they're asking for to get booked up and all these clientele. Because if you can't steward it, God is not going to bless you with anything else other than what you got right there. He's like, how do you want more? You can't even manage the little that I've given you.
Yes.
I've seen that you do a whole lot. I was like, I was telling my sister, I was like, can you shoot me the page so I can kind of like do some research on who we're about to talk to? I seen that you have a salon, you train people, you do the lash tech, the waxing, and you're also the vendor for those things also, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you guys have 4 kids, you're married. I was like,
yeah, because he didn't know much because he's a tattoo artist. He doesn't know anything about lash artists and the beauty industry. And so when we started this podcast, our goal was always to get other entrepreneurs who aren't always only business owners, but also like they have faith in God. And because and so when I shot him your page, I was like, hey, there's this girl. The first video I actually saw of you guys was you guys praying and celebrating. So that was like dude, she's perfect. Like, you know, like she would be a perfect person to talk to because not only are you a business owner, you're a successful business owner. And we love the fact that, you know, you're not afraid to give thanks to God. We love the fact that your roots are rooted in the foundation of Him. And so, yeah, your story is awesome. I think it's dope that you came here with to another country and you've managed to build everything you have from literally nothing. And it's just fruits of God, like favor, God's favor over you,
Favorite.
your
I thought I was
family.
thinking that word
Yeah,
favorite when you was
favorite.
talking about you're booked up and the pandemic, because what she said, like a lot of people were tripping out, and some entrepreneurs that are willing to go against the grain. I was like, no, I'm not sure. No, I got a family to provide for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like the bill's still coming, but you guys had faith and like I ain't tripping about no COVID because I'm covered. You know,
Yeah.
like I ain't worried about it. So it's awesome that you were able to thrive when people were like stuck in their fear, like
Yes,
closing
yes.
down shop and stuff like that.
Oh,
But
yes.
favor most definitely was the word I was thinking of when you was talking.
Yeah.
And two, like, not even having no type of background. Do you guys have a background of entrepreneurship in the family? Like, or anybody else in the family tapping into entrepreneurship? Or were you guys like first generation entrepreneurs?
No, first generation. And that's when I started growing. I started getting booked up. My first year was very successful. And I remember after taking clients for 3 months, it only took 3 months. And I told my husband when he came back from work, I was like, I need you to sit down with me because I need to show you something. And I showed him a notebook full of all my clients and how much I made for those 3 months. And it was my first 3 months. And it was probably what took us, I don't know, maybe a couple months for us to, get paid. And it was only 3 months. So I said, this is real. Like, this is serious. Now I'm building something, and I need to do it the right way. I need to go ahead and get my license. I need to go to a beauty school, and a lot of people just went to beauty school, because they were able to have money. I didn't, so I'm like, I have to save up in order to go. So I always tell all my students, like, I started different, because that's not the right way, but at the end, I did make it the right way. I got my license and we have all the permits and everything. But I did have to just start. I mean, I wasn't sure if I was doing, but I was just like, I need to start. And that's something that I always tell my students, because a lot of entrepreneurs that they just want to start, but they don't know how, and they're like, well, first need to do this, and then
Yeah.
I need a space, and I need to get this, and I'm like, what? Wait, you want to get into debt first? Not school, but just like buying all of this and that, and they want to make it pretty. And I'm like, don't worry about that. I'm like, no, just start with whatever you have. Just start. I'm like, it will happen. So I think that it's um it's very hard sometimes for people to understand that, because we want everything to be perfect, but sometimes we just have to start. Learn as we go.
Yeah. I think one of the main things that I took away from your story, right, is that you didn't wait to feel like you were ready. You kind of just went with, okay, I know the steps that I need to take, and you just kind of move forward in that. And there's a lot of people, like you said, who won't even sign up for school or who won't even start a business because they're either afraid or they feel like, I don't know enough yet. I don't know enough. I want to educate myself more. And so I guess my question would be like, how do you help people in this situation? Because you do mentorship, right?
Yes.
What do you say to those people who feel like they have to be perfect, or they have to have more, I guess, of a resume under their belt? Like, how do you encourage those people who feel like they're not ready?
I always tell them that to start with whatever they have, whatever they know, and just along the way, there's gonna be more mentorships that they can purchase, that they can buy, and you always learn as you go, because the more that you get to know your clients, the more that you get to know your customers, the more that you learn about the industry. That's when you're like, wait, I didn't think about this, right? I didn't think about that, because you're never going to learn everything in just one mentorship or at school. That's never going to happen. You're literally always going to learn as we go, for anything, for everything. We're just going to be we always have to just always doing research and reading and learning more, because even now, I'm still like, okay, what else can I do? What else can I bring to our store? What else can we do? Because there's always a lot of different, demands and supply. So we were like, okay, we got to do this now. We got to bring this out. And there's a new product now. And okay, what is this new product? I got to try this out. I've never even heard of it. So it's just, that's how it's going to be. I mean, I always tell everybody, believe in yourself. And even if I start from my garage, I tell everybody that. I'm like, because a lot of people are like, no, I need a suite and I need this. And I'm like, no, don't. Just start from your garage, start from your living room. It's okay. You will get there, but you just have to go step by step.
Why do you, I mean, because pretty much what you're talking about is, I call it analysis paralysis. That's when people see all the different parts and pieces that they feel they need to get done first before they make that move. So they get so overwhelmed before even stepping into the arena, right? So why do you think people I guess, let me frame it like this. What limiting beliefs do you feel you had to overcome for you to, I guess, because I feel like you were kind of fearless in a sense stepping into it. What do you feel that people are dealing with that's stopping, and besides what you mentioned already, or like a stumbling block, or maybe it's a limiting belief? What do you think one of those limiting beliefs?
Having faith.
Having faith?
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't have faith. They don't know who God is. And that's, I mean, he's the main one, to everything. So I think a lot of people that don't know even a little bit, their faith it's really what sparks everything. So stepping out of your comfort zone. Yeah, but how do you step out of your comfort zone? Well, at first I have to have faith that everything's gonna work out. I have to pray so that way I can be calm and I can go ahead and do this or do that. Because I think stepping out of your comfort zone, a lot of people, it limits them to, right now everything's changing. Now we have to post more. Now we have to be on social media.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I know.
Right. And it's so difficult for all of us because we're not used to that. First, it was a lot of people were just like, okay, let me go ahead and hand out flyers. And now it's like, people are like, what is this? Huh? Now
it used to be word of mouth.
Exactly.
Like
and now it's not. It's like, oh, wait, let me see. How many followers do you have?
Yeah.
How many? That's how it is. And it's so hard for all of us. But now we have to step out of our comfort zones. We have to post more. We have to create crazy videos. And now, not just Instagram, but now TikTok. Everybody moved to TikTok now.
Next wave,
I'm so new to TikTok as well. So I'm like, wait, what? Now, what do we do? What are we doing? And there's trends. What trend? And, so I think things like that where we're always growing. I mean, I have my employees, they're young for that reason, because they tell me, hey, we're doing this trend and that trend. I'm like, just tell me what to do.
Where were you? And I guess, were you waiting for a certain moment, like maybe once I make this much, then I'll branch out and do other things? Was that what it was?
Yes, actually, yes. After my first year of taking clients, I said, now that I went to school, now that I have my license, now I can go ahead and actually have a suite, because in order to get a suite, you have to be licensed. And I went and I told my husband, like, let's look for something. And that's when I knew, okay, I need to go ahead and get my own suite. However, I was still at school. I was about to get my license, but I was still at school. And a lot of my friends also needed a place where to work at. So I was like, okay, when I was looking at places, I found a place where we can go ahead and, like, not just make it for myself, but actually for others too. So along the way, I helped them, and we can go ahead and pay the rent for this. So I think it's gonna work out. And yeah, I mean, that's how I started. That's how Divine Beauty Lounge Suites was born. After a year that I started taking my clients. So it was in 2021 that Divine was born.
When you're doing all this stuff, because like I said, there's a lot of stuff that you do. What was your husband's response to all of that? Was he like, what else are you planning on doing?
Yes.
Or like, you're ready to do so much, are you going to add anything else to the plate? Was that his reaction, or was it something different?
It's like I always tell everyone, marriage is not easy. So especially when I'm over here going crazy because I want to do this and that, and I just see all these opportunities. So that's how I would like talk to him. I'm like, it's an opportunity. I know it's not something that I just want to do for fun, but it's an opportunity for us, for the community. And like I said, my husband is so I'm the wild one. I'm the crazy one. I want to do this and do that. He's a little bit more chill. He's more calm. So he's more centered for sure. So he's the one that's like, okay, hold on. Let's think about it. Let's see. Okay, what do you want to do? First, we have to go. And, I don't know, we need a permit. And he's like, yeah, we do. He's like, I'm sure. Let's go to the city, and let's ask this for that. And I was like, oh, no, that's too much. But he's like, no, we can still make it happen. We just need to know that. So he's the one. So he's always been my backbone. So because of that, I started, when I was working at Divine, everybody was like, oh my gosh, I just dropped my tweezers. I need tweezers. Who has extra tape? Who has this for lashes? So I noticed there was a demand for that, like, okay. So I said, well, what if I, just create my own product line? And I told my husband, we did some work, we researched, and I had no idea that was just like that's what everybody, I guess, in Stockton, and I mean we ship internationally, but what everyone needed, I guess.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I mean, God's just been so good to me because, like I said, when I started doing services, I was always booked. And then when we opened up Divine, before the grand opening, all the suites were already taken. So that was huge. That's something that, of course, that I prayed for, and I asked God for that, and He delivered. So at the grand opening, I was like, yeah, no, we don't have any more suites, guys. But because of the demand, that's what we had to expand. To other, we started with 7 suites, then 6 more suites, because of the demand. And then we're expanding again, actually. So that's pretty exciting
Awesome.
too.
That's awesome.
I know we haven't told anyone yet, but we're expanding again.
You heard it here first.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, guys.
Congrats.
Yes, thank you.
Congrats, yeah.
So after a year of in Divine, that's when the supplies, all the products that I said, okay, let's go ahead and get this started. And when we launched, it was amazing. It went great. I mean, and because of all the kiddos that we have, they were able to help me out. And, my husband was working in the union, but his schedule was very hard because he would have to wake up like at 4 a.m. He would come home till like probably like 3 p.m., 4 p.m. sometimes. So he was tired. And I was like, okay, so you need to help me build this shelf because I need this. And I could just see his face, like he was tired, but he did it.
Take this Red Bull real quick. You'll be all right, bro.
Yes. So, and also, okay, he would put the kids to sleep. Well, I was like, okay, what else do I need to do? The computer, and I'm not tech savvy. I don't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about inventory. So that's when I actually sat down with my husband, and probably it took me maybe around 3 months. And I asked him, you need to quit your job. I need to help.
Nice. I was going to ask you that if he's still working.
Yes. No, he was still working. All this time he was still working. But it was a very hard, difficult schedule. So I was waking up, taking the kiddos to school, going to the gym, then coming back, and then doing this, doing that, And he was working, and I was like texting him, 20 messages, like, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this, So he for sure was going crazy. And I had to sit down and tell him, like, I need this. And it was difficult because, he's the man. So he was like, what do you mean? And he was like, that's beauty industry, So he's like, what am I going to do? So he was like, you're crazy. No. But every day we just needed more help, One thing is like waking up to 10 orders. Another day would wake up to 100 orders. So I was like, okay, I'm doing this, that. And people want their orders shipped out quick.
Most definitely.
So I need help. So that's when I would teach my kiddos to know what a tweezer is, what a lash tray is, what a tape is, so they know everything, all the differences from all the products. And then he had to do it too. He had to learn too, because Saturdays I was working, and then he was at home, and I'm like, this girl needs all this, like this order, So he'll be like, oh my gosh, what is what, So he had to learn that too. And I think it was about 3 months that I was like, come on, I need help. And then we just kept growing more and more, and we were shipping out to different countries. And, so he saw that I was going crazy. I was, I had all this, like, it was just a lot. Like my phone, I didn't want to look at my phone at times. So I talked to him, and he said, I remember when he said, that's so cute. He was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, okay. Working for the union is an amazing job. Thanks to that job. And I always say, thanks to God, like, God you gave him that job, and thanks to that job, we were able to purchase our first property, you know. So that was amazing. And thanks to that job, I was able to fund my lash business. So thanks to that job, you know. So I'm always like, oh no, like, thank you for that. But now we're going to the next level. And I mean, I'm grateful that he's very patient and he's centered, he's calm. So he was like, okay, let's go ahead and do this. He told his boss he was going to take 1 year off first. He said, I'm going to take a couple months off. He said, no, I'm going to take a couple months off and I'll be back. And then from that, I went to 1 year and then he just never went back.
Nice.
Yeah. And then, you know, he just helped me build the businesses that we have. So I always say, like, yes, I started everything, but it's thanks to my husband that he's my backbone and he's always there. And I say, oh my gosh, we need this. And he's looking it up and he's doing this. And he's like, all right, you know, because I'm just a girl. I'm like, I want this. And that's it, you know. He's like, hold on, we need this, that, you know. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I think I've always put myself, though, like you said, challenges. Like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I need to make this much money in order to build Divine. Then okay, I'm gonna go ahead and for the products and the supplies, we did it from the same garage when I started when I was doing lashes. So I always say that garage is blessed because we got all the supplies there, and then we have a 3-car garage. We started in the small one, and then we took over our whole 3-car garage, everything, all of it, and then it was taking over a living room, and we were like, okay. And then there was a lot of demand of a lot of girls in the community that were like, we need a store. Girl, we need a store. I want to come and I want to shop, you know. And that was never in my plans. But the only reason why it was never in my plans was because we have 4 children. I said, the minute that we open up a store, that means I'm going to have to be there.
Present,
Or my husband or my kids. And yes, of course, I love to teach my kids, like, help me out here. Let's do this. Let's create content. These are the lashes. But I also want them to be kids. So I said no to a store for a couple of years. I said no. And then it's actually this month is going to be 1 year since we opened doors, but we had to open the store just because it was taking over our whole house. So at that point, I was like, okay, we maybe need a store. But that's when now I have to go ahead and step up to this new level, and we have to go ahead and, you know, hire somebody that's going to help us on how to run a store, how to do payroll, and how to do everything that, well, he knows everything that needs to be done for a store. Because I cannot be at a store. I cannot be at the store. I'm a mom first. So I love being an entrepreneur, but I'm a mom first. My kiddos need me first. So if the school calls me or my kiddos just need me for any reason, then I'm gonna be a mom, you know. So that's the reason why we opened up the store, but we also hired amazing girls that help me on. They're my team, so that way they can help me run the store. And it's just been a challenge after a challenge, but like I said, we learn as we go. And even though it's not, nothing's easy. I think God sees when we actually try, when we actually like get up and, you know, I always say at a job, regular job, you can just say, I'm not going in, I'm sick. Entrepreneurs, we can't do that. We can't do that. We gotta go if we're sick, if we're not feeling it, whatever. We have to go. And we wake up every day. Every day that I wake up, I'm like, oh my gosh, do I want to open up my phone or not? Because every day it's something new. You know, so it's you know, it's difficult for us, but a lot of people don't know that, don't see that. But that's thanks to that, we have freedom. We have the liberty, you know, I can be with my kids. We can go ahead and go to the park with my kids on a random Tuesday, Wednesday. And, you know, so that honestly, like, it's worth a lot more than, you know, just being at a regular job, you know, the whole time. And that's what I tell him, because for him, my husband was really hard for him to like let go of his job, like 9 to 5, you know, it was really hard for him. But when we're on vacations, we're with the kids on a random Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm like, see, yes, you know, yes. And the kiddos, of course, are the happier, you know, they're like, yes, mom, we love this, you know. So yeah, and I love that because we're also teaching our kids that.
That part.
Yes, we're teaching our kids that. Our kids, you ask them, what do you want to do? They'll tell you, I want to go ahead and be an entrepreneur. I want to have my own business. They all have different, you know, business ideas, you know, but I'm like, go for it, honey. Like we're here. Now we can go ahead and teach you guys, you know.
What is you know, you said the kids helped out. What does balance look like for you guys?
You know, balance is not always equal, the same, but we just every day, you know, it's just
we give 70 to this, but we give 30 to this, and we just make it work. And we have a great communication with our children. Like, we have amazing communication. So we tell the kids how life is. You know, we're very raw. Like, we will tell them, like, kiddos, we're now gonna open FAB products store. Oh my god, yeah. I'm like, yes, but we need your help, guys. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and build shelves, and when you guys gotta help paint, and Papa's gonna teach you how to paint, and you're gonna learn how to do the shelves, and you're gonna learn how to do this. And they're like, oh, okay. But I'm like, but this will go ahead and help us out, you know, in our finances. And I was born in Peru, so it's a huge difference that I see. You know, I'm like, you guys open the fridge and you guys see food. When I was a kid, I didn't have that, you know? So I'm like, I would go to sleep early because my mom was like, yeah, there's, you know, we're not having dinner tonight, you know? So I teach them that. And honestly, I'm just very grateful that I was born and raised in a different country, because I see all of this and I'm just like, oh, I'm so grateful. This is amazing. I remember, you know, when I was a kid, I remember what's like not to have food. I remember what's like, you know, to walk here to a different place because we don't have a car, we don't have money for a taxi, you know. So and that's okay. So I tell my kiddos that, I teach them that, I tell them that. And it's funny because as I tell them that, they're like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't have this? What do you mean you're not? And I'm like, exactly, that's why you do have a fridge. You do have this. Be grateful.
Yeah. Teaching kids to be grateful. That's tough in this era right now. You know, I mean, the question I think of, like, when you're talking about your kids and telling them about the business, I'm gonna need your help with this and that. Do your kids, like, do they bump heads a lot, or?
No, thankfully, no. They
You guys are blessed.
You are a favorite, man.
That's why I say, I'm like, God, thank you. They love it. I mean, to create content. I'm like, guys, look, I think we can do this. Oh my gosh, let's do it. Let's go right now. Let's do it. I'm like, oh, okay. We're just so grateful. Yeah. But also because we have great communication with the children, like with our kiddos. We tell them, you know, like, hey, this is how life looks like. I'm picking up my kiddo from school, you know, and then sometimes I see kids walking and I'm like, oh, where's your friend? You know, and they're like, oh no, it's because their mom's working, their dad's working. And I'm like, see, honey, I'm like, this is not normal. The normal is you have to walk home. Somebody else has to pick you up, grandpa, grandma, you know, because it's a regular job, you know. That's like, so this is what you need to be grateful for, because we can take you guys to school. We can pick you guys up from school. I didn't have that when I was growing up because, you know, my parents were working all day, night, you know. So this is what, so we always communicate with them. We always tell them how life is, you know, what normal is. So that way they can also be like, oh man. I mean, my girls take stuff from the store and they sell it at school. You know, they're like, oh my gosh. They're like, yes, mom. So see, mom, where's my commission? And I'm like, you know, so I mean, it's just, we're trying to teach them how everything is, how life is, just so that way they know and they understand. You know, I'm like, do you guys remember when we used to live in an apartment? You guys remember that, right? So, you know, we have a home, we have a house, we have a house that we bought, you know. And they've, thankfully, our daughter, because we had our first two daughters so young, they've seen all of that. They've seen, you know, we used to remember, mom, when we had that little apartment. And I'm like, yes, remember. And when we moved here, remember. And they're like, oh my gosh, mom, yes, you know. So I mean, it's amazing. You know, it's amazing to hear that from your own kiddos. And my daughters, like, because my daughters are girls, you know. They're like, mom, all my friends love you at school. All my friends are like, oh, yeah. So I'm like, oh my God, yeah. You know, I mean, I'm so grateful that. But we've always, my husband and I have always said that we need to have good communication with our children, because in order to have successful businesses, I don't want to have successful businesses and my kiddos just anyway, you know, my children, even though they're teenagers, they don't have phones, they don't have cell phones. I'm like, you don't need cell phones.
Nice.
You need cell phones.
Yeah.
Same.
You know, I'm like, you don't need a cell phone. Oh, to see where my friend is at, because all my friends have phones at school. You don't need that.
Yeah.
You need to be present at home. You need to be present in the businesses. Let's go, honey.
So for the entrepreneurs that are incorporating the kids into the business, the question that I'm thinking of is, you talked about good communication with the kids, to keep that line of communication. What type of things do you implement to make sure that there's a good communication going on here, so they're not, you know, because I feel like a lot of people struggle with that part. Like, what does that look like? What does it sound like to have good communication? How do you build a safe space for your kids to feel comfortable coming to you and I guess comfortable with each other working together, because you said your kids don't fight. My kids be bumping heads like crazy, bro. So like, what are you guys implementing to see to it that there's a good line of communication?
Well, my kids don't fight. They'll fight about toys, but not when it comes down to business. Like they know exactly what to do. And the thing is that that's why we have a lot of videos, because they're just like, okay, what else do we need to do? What else do we need to do? Mom, I'm thinking of this and I'm thinking of that. And because I think they're already being present with their businesses, they have a lot of ideas all the time. We're just having dinner and they have a lot of ideas. But we do have we'll have dinner together, we'll have lunch together, breakfast together as a family, because I tell them we're a family, and my husband's really strict about that, so I love that, because he'll be like, nope, 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 come, we'll wait until you wash your hands, we'll wait until you finish that, and then you come. We all sit down as a family and we'll all eat together, and then that's when we talk, phones down, and we'll talk. Hey, how was your day, and what's going on, and what do you think about this and about that? And we have open communication by asking them how everything's going on at school, but also how our day. We don't sugarcoat anything. We don't say, oh, everything's been great. I'm like, no, so this happened to me today, guys. This is that, and I tell them, and they're just like, wait, but this. I'm like, I know, but see, now I gotta go ahead and learn how to communicate that to a customer or to a client, and this. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, that's how life is. I wish everybody, just was easy, but it's not. So teaching them that, and I think just like seeing us just be very open with them, and just very we just tell them the truth. We don't I always say, we can't sugarcoat. Even if we wanted to, we can't, because when they step out and they talk to their friends, then they're like, Mom, I heard this and this is going on and that's going on, in the world, at school, and this. So we like to tell them everything, just raw, the way it is.
I think that's awesome. So you said you guys do that every night or once a week?
Oh, every night.
Every night?
Oh yeah, every night.
I love that. Yeah. I love that, because we come from a family where we didn't talk a lot. Like, we didn't communicate a lot. If anything, my dad communicated with his hands a lot. So we didn't have that space. So I think it's awesome that you guys leave that space for your kids to be able to, be vulnerable with you, and you be vulnerable with them, because it does give them that space. So I can understand how it would create that trust between you guys and make you guys stronger, right, in a sense. There was this quote that I heard, or a story that I heard. I forgot where I saw it, but it was saying that because you guys, you guys are the pioneers of your guys' business, and because you guys have broke through barriers, you come from another country, but you've been able to build something that now when your kids start to jump into entrepreneurship, they're not starting from the bottom, like you had to. They're actually going to start up here, because they're learning now as children what you've gone through. They've seen you build the things. They've seen what it takes behind the scenes. So I'm excited for you guys, not just you, but your family and your business, and it's inspirational to see.
Yeah.
So I love that.
We are. We're very grateful, honestly. And we do see it. We do see it with our kiddos, I remember I always said my biggest dream, that was just my dream since we purchased our home. My husband and I purchased a home. My dream was always to buy my mama a home. That was always my dream. My mom and my dad were together. So my mom and my dad, that was always my dream. And I remember when I finally found the opportunity to do it, I told my husband, like, this has been my dream. Like, this is from me. Like, I want to do this, And he was like, okay, okay, that's what you want to do. Let's go ahead and find out how we can make that happen, So we did. We found out, and then I told my kiddos that, and I was like, guys, like, I'm gonna go ahead and do my biggest dream, but you guys cannot tell grandparents, I'm gonna go ahead and buy grandparents a home, so they don't have to worry about ever paying, I'm gonna go ahead and buy it. And they were like, oh my gosh, yay. So everything happened. We gave them the keys. Everything
Awesome.
it was huge.
Yeah,
it was awesome, yeah. My mom and dad, they were so excited. But then when we're coming home in the night, my daughter comes to her room, and then she goes, Mom, so I love that you did that for grandparents, but now, what about when I become successful? What can I buy you if you already have a house? And I was like, oh my God, you're so cute. She's already thinking of what to get me,
awesome.
I was like, honey, oh my gosh. And she's like, yes, like, just what, buy you another house? I'm like, what? And I was like, that's so cute. I told my husband, he was like, what? And I was like, because she's seen this.
Yeah.
She's already like, oh my gosh, I want to do the same for you, mom,
Mhm.
because I told them my parents have, they're amazing parents, amazing. So I was like, that was just so amazing to
Yeah.
see, like, they don't just learn by like us telling them, but seeing it, and they're like, wait, I want to be like you, mom.
Mhm.
That was amazing.
Yeah, what I say is more with kids is more is caught than taught. So the fact that they see you guys thriving and doing your thing, they've already accepted that identity that, oh no, we're going to be successful when we get older, you know? So that's awesome to hear that it's actually coming out from their own mouth. It's
It
just
was
like, you guys are
amazing.
doing great. You guys are doing
I
awesome,
think
dude.
it was
Yeah.
amazing.
So
It was
I did
amazing.
want to shift it a bit, you know, if you have anything
Oh,
you
no,
want to say?
go.
So I want to shift it like in regards to like the business aspect of things, like lessons. What, if I were to ask you, what are the biggest things you've learned? At least three big lessons that you learned while doing business? Because how long, you said you've been in business since
6 years.
6 years.
6 years. So within the 6 years, the three biggest lessons you've learned in your business, what would that be?
I would say learning something new always, stepping out of your comfort zone and having faith. Because stepping out of your comfort zone, like I said earlier, we have to be willing to learn new things.
Mm-hmm.
Having faith, because I believe that God is in charge of everything, and if we don't have faith, we don't have anything. And um, just knowing that, or learning as we go, even like starting before we're ready, because we're never ever going to be ready for anything. We just, even if we think we're ready, then we're going to see, oh my gosh, I need this and I need that too. And we just have to be open to learning more, and mm, just knowing what's the next level is going to be, because we have to be prepared, but we are also never going to be prepared. So we have to be just open minded to see, to know, okay, now I need to know of the business, this aspect now, and this, and now we're going to go ahead and learn this, because there's just a lot that goes, but it's totally worth it. Being an entrepreneur is so worth it. So it's, if we really want it as bad as many of us say that we do, we have to put in the work. We have to show up, even on the days that we don't want to, or we don't feel like it.
With everything that you have going on in your business, has there ever been a time where you felt like you were burnt out or like it was too much? And if you have, like, how did you deal with that? Like, how did you go about to get back into, I guess, shifting gears from feeling burnt out to showing back up? How did you navigate through that?
um Asking my husband to come to help on the business was huge for me, because now he was dealing with all the back work. He was dealing with everything that I didn't have to deal with. I have the face, I look pretty, and I show all this, and I do the trends and everything, but he can worry about the permits and all that, that I don't have to worry about. And learning how to delegate, it's huge.
Nice.
Because I mean, we want to grow, but in order to grow, well, I can't do everything. I mean, like I said, I'm a mom first. I cannot be, the store is open 7 days a week. You'll go and you don't find me because I'm with my kiddos. I'm with my kiddos at the park. I'm with my kiddos at their friend's birthday party. I'm with my kiddos doing this, and of course, when it's time to show up, we show up. But learning how to delegate is huge, something that I've had to learn. But because I'm always like, okay, doing research, what else, how can I grow? And learning how to delegate, I think it's very hard for a lot of people, because they're like, well, nobody's gonna do it better than me.
That part. Yeah.
Right? Nobody's ever gonna do this. Nobody, and it's true, a lot of us were like that, and but I think just like building a team, because like my employees, that's what I tell them, like, oh, I love how you did this, but maybe we do this instead, and have that communication with them where they can just ask me questions, and I'm always like answering them, but like I said, the store, okay, we're opening up the store, guys, but I can't be there. I cannot be there. We're gonna go ahead and have to hire people. We're gonna have to hire, and also hiring. Okay, well, I need to hire people that are young, that can go ahead and know the social media part, because that's huge right now. So I need them. So I need to also be thankful for them, because see, they take over that part. At least I don't have to worry about that. And I think that way I can also have days off. If you ask 5 years, I never took a day off, but now, of course, I'm taking days off. I take days off to be with my family. Sundays, you won't ever see me working because I'm with my family. I'm with my family Sundays. cannot touch Sundays. And we take vacations. We go out a lot. We like to, as a girl, I have to maintain myself. You know, I have to take care of myself and be also parents, be with our kiddos. You know that that's what we love to do. We love to stay home and watch movies and just chill. And okay, it's movie night. Okay, we're doing this now. We're going to grandparents' house, and so that's what's beautiful. You know, to also know when it's time to, all right, I'm good, and of course I can still grow, but now I need a team. I need, and yes, of course it takes a lot because people are like, well, I don't want to pay somebody, and I don't, but you just have to, you know. It's okay. I mean, we're all growing together now, you know, because now, of course, I'm not just taking care of myself, I'm taking care of my team, but that's okay because I'm also able, that's a blessing because I'm also able to, you know, bless them with the job, bless them with it. So I'm like, yeah, it's fine. We're good. You know?
It reminds me of the scripture. We are just talking about this actually before you guys walked in, which was, you know, the team, right? And the scripture says one could take out 1,000, two could take out 10,000. Just the power in numbers, right? And there's another one that says, God said in the beginning of Genesis, it's not good for man to be alone. That's another one I thought of. And then the last scripture I was telling my sis about was, I said a 3-strand cord cannot easily be broken. You know, so it's a matter of like the power in numbers. And I think of like if you were to use 100% of your energy, of your strength, I think of like a grape. But if you were to incorporate and hire other people, you might get 90%, but the 10%, but you'll be able to get like it's like more like a watermelon. 90% of a watermelon is way more than 100% of a grape. So that's the way I think about it. So it's like hiring people. It is scary, but ultimately, what is the objective? Are you trying to work to the coffin, or like are you trying to just chill with the family? Because what you said, that's the you know,
that's the goal.
That's the goal,
where
bro.
everybody's
You know,
trying to reach right there.
yeah, you guys are my type of people. Just chilling, watching movies, bro, traveling, like
church on Sundays.
Church
we
on
love
Sundays.
That. Yeah.
No, so I appreciate you guys coming in on a Sunday.
Yes.
You know, taking time out of your busy schedule. Most
That's
definitely.
so funny. My husband, he's like, on a Sunday? What?
I
Like,
know.
I know.
On the Sabbath.
Right.
So, if I were to think of another question that like, the question would be, if you were to lose everything, right? If you were to lose everything and you were trying to get from ground zero to where you're at right now in a matter of, I don't know, like 30 days, what are the main 3 things you would focus on?
So now, because a lot has changed, social media, definitely social media, posting a lot. I think a lot of people, even though a lot of, I know trends go viral, but a lot of people want to see who you really are. When I started, I would ask a lot of clients, like, so I wanted to know, like, why did you come to me? Like, why do you choose me when there's so many other people, you know? And a lot of people would say, well, because it's you. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I saw your face. I saw when you said that you were a mom. I saw when you said that you were just starting. I saw that you said that you're not from, that you weren't born here in this country. I saw, so I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Like, that's not even work. That's just me, you know? I'm like, it's just me. So great. So I would say focusing on showing people who really I am and showing people that, you know, posting my work, posting who I am, and posting that what I can also offer them, you know, great services, or whether it's great products, or whether it's the sweets, you know, I can go ahead and show that to them.
I think you know, because you said people want to know who you are, but there's a lot of people in the beauty industry who are afraid to do that part, you know, who are afraid to show their personality, and so they stick to just posting lashes. Like, how were you ever timid to, you know, show your personality on camera, or were you ever shy to do that type of content, or how did you, or were you always a confident person when it came to content like that?
Honestly, I'm very confident, but that's because my mom and dad put that in me. Like, since I was a kiddo, like they always said, you can believe it, you can go ahead and achieve it, you can go ahead, even though we come from a, you know, from Peru, and it was really hard. They always put it in me. So that's I tell that to my husband, so we can teach that to our kiddos too. You know, like the kiddos believe in themselves. You know, knowing that everybody's different, we're all different, and we all are amazing in our own way. So teaching them that, so that way they can go ahead and put it into the world, I think that's amazing. I mean, like I tell my clients, my students, you know, like, yeah, I'm Theo, and yeah, I probably, don't know all of this and all of that, but this is what I do know, and this is what I can bring to the table. This is what I can show you. And that's just being yourself, being me. And of course, sometimes I do get a little, I get shy and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. But I try to turn it into like, well, you know what? If I mess up, it's okay. It'll be funny, and people would just laugh and be like, oh my gosh, this funny girl, crazy girl, but that's just me, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like sometimes I look at videos from before, and I'm like, oh, I really did that. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
and it was a trend, or I, it was just a video, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even do my hair that day, but I'm just like, that's just me, So I'm like, it's okay. I mean, we're all busy. We're all just trying our best, and a lot of people, I think, we see that in others, like, oh my gosh, you're trying your best. Like I know you have a family, you have the, so I think doing that, and I think a lot what has to do with people that are just opening up their businesses is also like being professional. A lot of people, I always tell my students, like, if your boss tells you you need to start at 10 a.m., are you going to come at 10:05? No, because you could get fired. So why, if you have an appointment, somebody that's going to come at 10, why are you showing up at 10:05? You have to set up, you have to clean, you have to make sure the lights are on, you have to make sure everything, you have to show up at least 15 minutes before. So why can't we listen to our bosses, but we can put the same energy into our own businesses, So that's something that something that I just like to be, that I notice, that I like to teach, just because I'm like, it's hard.
Yeah.
When you have a boss, they tell you what to do, they tell you what not to do, they tell you what to say. When you're an entrepreneur, nobody tells you, and you have to just fight yourself and be like, okay, I have to get up. Okay, I have to do this. Okay, I have to clean this. Okay, I have to set this up. And it's a lot harder. But that's what makes you you. That's how you can go ahead and actually have a business, a successful business, and it's gonna make it stand out from the rest of the other businesses.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have a misconception thinking that once you start your business, you can slack off. You can do whatever you want. I'm like, bro, you got to work your business like a regular 9 to 5. If not, what I say is, if not, you're going to be forced to go back because nobody's going to want to mess with you. Keeping it, and what you say reminds me of working with a spirit of excellence. And the Bible talks about everything you do it as you're doing it unto the Lord. So what I say is that how you broom the floor and how you mop to my apprentices, that's going to show me the pride you're going to take when you're tattooing on skin. So it spills over. So everything you do, what you said, you gotta show up and then like look the part, bro. Like, why are you gonna come in like flip flops and dressing down, not even doing your hair? I'm like, what are we doing, bro? You know? And then they wonder why not a lot of people want to mess with them.
Yeah.
It's because you are half stepping, half heart in it. And I feel like people can see that.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, because I feel like I've spoken on that before too. Because I've trained people in the past and they've always asked me for advice sometimes, and I've given that advice too about, they always use the excuse of, oh, but the beauty industry is so saturated. There's so many lash artists in the tool line or whatever the excuse is. But I always say, there's only one of you though. There's only one you. There's only, so it's like people connect more with people, and the other person might do good work, but if you just focus on your own lane, focus on what you have to offer people, it's going to draw in the right people to you, because sometimes you might not even be the best, but because, like you said, they're drawn to you because they like that you're a mom, that they loved your story. So I think that's very important, is don't be afraid to tell people your story.
Yeah. Do you have any last advice for these entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs? You said a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, you said a lot of great nuggets that we can pull from. But
I know I always overshare. That's what I was with my husband. I was like, okay, I'm like, make me a sign or something, okay? So I don't
know. No, we love it though.
Talking.
We
like,
love the fact that you.
Oh
he was
my
like,
God.
oh, that's what that cough was over there, right?
That was a cue.
He was like,
yeah, I know. I'm looking at him. I'm like, yeah.
He caught the sign, or he caught it.
Yes, I know. I'm like, I talk too much.
No, you're good. Any last advice that you would give to aspiring entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general that are just going through it? Maybe they're contemplating on stepping into the game, but
I would say it's okay to mess up. That's the biggest thing. It's okay to mess up. Sometimes something might not work, and it's okay. It's okay. It's totally okay. When I started FB products, I actually started with strip lashes and lip glosses. That didn't really work out. But see, a lot of people don't know that because they're like, "What? Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." See, you guys didn't even notice I was selling that first. Yeah. When I noticed that didn't work out, I was like, "Okay, now something else then."
Yeah.
And I think that's just how it is. I mean, if something doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that you're not you weren't born for this, or that this is not yours, or you can't do it, you're not capable of. No, it just means that, hey, that's just not that way. Go the other way until you find exactly what it's for you and what's gonna work for you. You know, and even successful businesses, you know, they'll go ahead and they do 5 years and they're like, you know what, it's successful, but no, I want to do something else. And that's okay. You know, I mean, I feel like I'm open to a lot, because I'm like, I feel like as long as we're happy, it's fine, you know? So even if we mess up and we launch this product and it just didn't work out, then okay, you know what? We'll go ahead and launch this other product. We'll go ahead and focus on this instead. And we'll go ahead and do this. It's okay. Even if if you mess up, it's okay to just stand back up and be like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and try it again. I'm going to go ahead and do this instead. It's totally okay.
Yeah. Well, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on a Sunday. I know that this is your family day, but it's been a pleasure. We look forward to seeing what you do in the future, and we look forward also possibly having you guys come back. But thank you for your time, and
you can let people know how can they get a hold of you.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you guys for inviting me over. It was nice. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience, and also stepping out of my comfort zone. So it was amazing. But yes, fbbproducts.com is our online store. We're located in Stockton, but we also ship internationally. We also have Beauty Divine suites. We have suites that are meant for beauty professionals. So we're expanding right now in May. So we're gonna go ahead. Yeah. Yes. So we're gonna go ahead and post about that soon. I know. But no, I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you guys so much for inviting me and having me here.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. See you guys on the next episode. Bye guys.